Welcome to Dan's Talks. My guests today are Kevin Beatty and Ken Anderson, both of whom are members of the North Sea Maritime Center, which is a proposed development which would be historic in nature. We'll talk about it in a little while, because this is where the first English settlers who came to Long Island landed. And we'll discuss that. And at this point, the project is getting underway and raising funds, and it's a very exciting thing. So I thought I'd talk to you about that. But before I do, this is Kevin Beatty. You are the president of the nonprofit, I believe.
Actually, Dan, first off, thank you for having me on. I'm actually part of the fundraising team. Ted and I are both board members, and I am specifically on the board to help out with fundraising. So I am not the president.
Okay. I'm going to ask this of each of you, because I think it's important for people to know, is how did you come to Noyak? We'll talk about Conscious Point, but were you born and raised out here, or how did you end to get involved with this project? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Dan, Ted, I'll go first since I had the voice. I actually had the good fortune. My parents bought a home when I was an infant child in North Sea Beach Colony, which is just down the road from Conscience Point. If you drive to the end of the road, North Sea Road, you'll hit the water, and North Sea Beach Colony is right there. And when I was an infant, they were fortunate to buy a home there, and I spent all my summers in North Sea Beach Colony as a child. And then about 10 or 12 years ago, I bought a house myself for my family in North Sea Beach Colony next to the house that I grew up in. So for the past 50 some odd years, 55 years, I've spent a good portion of my life in North Sea and in North Sea Beach Colony. So I have a great affinity towards the community.
Was your dad a fisherman?
My dad was a fisherman and a golfer, primarily a golfer. So he didn't spend he spent leisure time on a boat, but most of the time on a golf course.
Where did you when it wasn't the summer? Where were you raised?
In on Long Island in Garden City, New York, which is about an hour from North Sea.
And what have you gone into business, or what have you done so far?
Yeah, so I now live with my family for part of the year in New Jersey. I live in Summit, New Jersey, and I'm in sales. I've spent a good portion of my career in IT sales. I worked for IBM, and now I work for a software company selling clinical trial software to the pharmaceutical industry. So I travel a lot and work in the pharmaceutical industry.
Okay, and Ted Anderson, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, thanks, Dan. I am an attorney that lives in Dallas, Texas, but I am also a fourth generation North Sea person. My great-grandfather, Carroll Martin, was an original founder of the North Sea Fire Department and the founder of Martin Plumbing. My grandfather, Cyril Martin, was a World War I veteran. His name is inscribed on the Agawam Monument, and he took on Martin Plumbing. And then my mother married my dad, and my dad is the proprietor of the Ted's East End Deli on Hampton Road in Southampton. And my brother runs it now. I've been in Texas since 1983, and my wife and I bought a home in Hampton Bays. One of the other directors of the North Sea Maritime Center knew of my family connection to the area, thought that I'd be interested in participating, and indeed I was. And so I've been I'm a director and a vice president of the North Sea Maritime Center.
The location of this is this project that's underway, and I understand that the town is participating, is the place where a boatload of English settlers came from Lynn, Massachusetts in 1640 and uh, pulled themselves up on shore in Southampton after making several other attempts further west where they encountered Dutchmen that wanted them not to be there. And the purpose of it was twofold, I think. One was because they're being persecuted in Lynn for their beliefs, which were different than the mainstream there. And the other one was the king wanted to get as much property as he could as part of the English settlement instead of on the Dutch settlement. So this was a barren place, except for the Native American Indians. And they came ashore. The first person who came ashore, and I was going to ask about this, was a woman who said, "For conscience sake, we have arrived." And I wondered if either of you know what that meant.
No clue.
Sounds like an appropriate saying.
Well, I can tell you what I looked into it. This is the word conscience refers to their beliefs. And for the sake of their beliefs, we have landed as pretty much as now there's a huge boulder there with a plaque on it, I think.
Yes.
Shows that that's what happened there. It's like the one up at Plymouth Plymouth Rock up in New England. And is it larger?
It's big. It's big. And, as a kid, we used to take tours around it. We used to go on hikes, and it still is an area that people take tours around. So it's quite nice.
What's the vision? What do you plan to have happen there on that property?
So there's an old boat building that we call the Tupper Boathouse that's located right there on North Sea Harbor. It was built back in the 1920s. Many people may have recalled it as a fairly notorious nightclub, the Conscience Point Inn. Back in the early 2000s, the town of Southampton purchased the building and the land, designated it as a landmark, and then in 2000 and early 2000s, after Sandy, they used some Sandy federal and state money to kind of raise the property up for restoration. And so our organization, the North Sea Maritime Center, was incorporated in 2016, and then in 2023, we engaged in a 20-year lease with the town of Southampton to participate in the restoration of the boat building. And so the vision is to restore it, modernize it, build a series of buildings, a boat building area involved as well, and then to turn it into a community center so that we can begin to do some programming there. A lot of the programming we've already started. And the idea is to turn it into an environmental center, a center where kids can learn how to sail, go on excursions into the swampy areas, into the Peconic estuary there, and to educate and just be a community center for the North Sea area, which is obviously sorely needs something like that.
Talk about a little bit about the boathouse. It's a very large building, and I was wondering if you knew of any boats that were built there. I presume.
I do, and maybe Kevin saw them when he was kind of growing up in the area, but the Tupper family used to build pleasure craft there. And so they were small skiffs, things really just to kind of toot around in the bays and maybe go fishing and just have fun, smaller boats. The building itself, I don't think was big enough to build anything larger than that. Kevin, what are your memories?
Yeah, my memories are there were not big boats, and if any at all. And I just remember the dockage, right, which is where I keep my own boat there today, which is part of the Southampton Town Marina. But actually, the memories I have are of the nightclub, which it was at the time, and the building that's been vacant and in disrepair for so many years. So that's why I personally wanted to get involved, is to see it be revitalized.
I have a memory of that place even probably before you guys were born. It was called Lausanne, and it was the very first uh, nightclub I'd ever been at. I was in my 20s that had flashing electric lights, and it was very loud, and it was some young men had put it together. There was another night. There were several nightclubs out here at that time. One of them was Middy's. You may remember that one, uh, but that was on the highway in Watermill. Um, they're all gone now. But the one there was very exciting for me, and then later it became the Conscience. What was it? The Conscience Point place when I was married.
Conscience Point Inn,
At this
yes.
point in, yeah. I actually worked there as a dishwasher in my youth. I was a teenager, and the beauty of it, my parents didn't mind it because I could walk home, right? They didn't have to pick me up at 1 o'clock in the morning. So it was, but it was, that was 25 years ago when that place existed, and it's been vacant all these years since.
Talk a little bit about why the town bought it. We all know what happened. So, but some listeners might not know, and I think it's an interesting story. Start with it was a Saturday night, I guess, and a long line of people waiting to get in. What happened?
Yeah, so it was a very popular nightclub at the time, and a person from the city, Lizzie Grubman, drove her vehicle into the parking lot. There was some kind of an altercation, and there was a car accident. I think a number of people were hit by the vehicle. I don't know that anybody was badly damaged, but it became really a big piece of information in the city. It was a huge kind of sensation, kind of a scandal. And many of the local people that live in the area of the North Sea Harbor basically had it with some of the events that were going on there, and had been complaining about it. And so ultimately the town decided to shut it down and buy the property so they could avoid any kind of future notoriety.
There was another property up there. I only know it by name. I've never been in it, and I wondered if either of you had. It was for the men of the social set, and all I remember about it was something called the Inn of Lost Souls or something. It was a club, and it was up in Sabonic, not too far away. No memory of that, and I know that like they had smoking cigars, and that it was a pool table, and you could go up there, and God knows what you did. But same idea.
Yeah. Dan, the other thing that was interesting about when the town purchased the property, the dockage, the marina itself was not at all in use. So for a good 20 years prior to the town buying it, the dockage itself was never used. And the town immediately turned that into, they renovated it all and turned it into dockage space for the entire town. And that's really well used. So it actually, there's a lottery system to get your boat into that space. And it's really popular. I actually am fortunate to keep my boat there. And it's difficult to get your boat into that spot.
Administered by the trustees, not by the town, which the trustees were warranted to take care of the harbors and bays back by the King of England before the country was founded.
Yeah.
Going strong.
But it's a great setup there.
Let's talk some more about how you envision that property and what's on it now. There's several other nonprofits on this 5-acre property. Can either of you tell me a little bit about what it looks like today? Who owns what or leases what, and how you see it further down the road?
Yeah, so there's three nonprofits that are kind of operating in that area of Conscience Point. There's the Southampton History Museum that has the Conscience Point itself, the rock that you were talking about, and they're operating that. And we don't really know what their vision is for that property. There is the Conscience Point Shellfish Hatchery, which is another separate 501c3 that operates there. And basically that is an operation to hatch shellfish and put shellfish into the harbor for environmental purposes and for cleaning. And then next door to that is the Tupper Boathouse, which is the building that we're looking to restore. That's owned by the town of Southampton. And so hopefully all of us can work together for the development of the area of the property. We think it would be a huge benefit to the town and to the people of North Sea. So we're looking to all have an opportunity to kind of coordinate what we're doing out there and create programming for young and old alike.
Would the Maritime Center be also a museum, or would it also a pretty much active thing for teaching and learning?
So it's going to be hopefully both. Our original plan was to include some museum space in the building. Part of the history of North Sea is an important part of what we're trying to preserve there. Already this year, even though we don't have a building, we've done quite a bit of programming, and the Julie Green, the Southampton town historian, did a program this past summer on the history of North Sea. We did it at the North Sea Community Schoolhouse that's right there on Noyak Road. Had great turnout. So I think the history of North Sea is something that we plan on having exhibit space there for it, as well as all of the kind of the programming facilities that we're going to have there too.
How many square feet is that building?
That I don't know.
Mm.
Dan, we do on our website have renderings of, proposed designs of and so forth, but the square footage is not something we have readily available.
Yeah, I just from looking at it, it looks like it's 7,000 or 8,000 square feet, considerable size.
Yeah, it's not small.
There are two small, or one, I'm not quite sure myself, of newer buildings on the property that I think have something to do with the shellfish hatchery.
Actually, the newer buildings have to do with the marina. So there's a marina, like showers and bathrooms, and then the marina itself where they house the staff that takes care of the gas and so forth for the marina itself.
Is the marina a private operation?
It's run by the town. Town of Southampton runs the marina.
Right. And Howard, give me the address of the website, and I guess on there would tell you how people could contribute to this project.
Yeah, so if I could just talk a little bit about our endeavor. So we're in the process of a fundraising campaign, and fortunately we have it's a $7 million effort, right? And we have $6 million committed by the town of Southampton towards the project. So we have to raise $1 million, and we are in the process of raising $1 million. And our goal is to get this done by this upcoming summer. And we have what's called a plaque campaign. And in that campaign, there's multiple levels that, folks that want to contribute can actually have a plaque of varying sizes that they can commit to, that we're going to actually post in the building once it's built, as well as naming rights to rooms in the building when the building is built. And we've had great participation thus far. Many people have participated that have been local, and we've been very fortunate. But with the good help of folks like yourself and podcasts like this, we're looking for more help from those out there that are interested in contributing to the campaign.
How would they get in touch with you?
We have North Sea Maritime Center.org is our website. And Kevin Beatty is the fundraising chair. And my email address is Kevin Beatty, kpbeattyverizon.net. And my cell phone number is 917-319-2560. And Ted, if there's any other way to contact us, I think the best way to get in touch with us is going to our website. There's a donate now button right there. And all our contact information is available there. And, it's obviously a journey that we're on. We've posted ads, around. We'd like to post an ad in Dan's papers as well. And this conversation has been a great help to us, Dan.
We also have a number of programs that are coming up that people can attend and hear more about us. I'm happy to report. So on February 22nd at 2:00 at the St. John's Church in Southampton, we have the Shinnecock Kelp Farmers helping to save the bays that they'll be doing a presentation. On March 15th at 2:00, we're doing a presentation, Bird Migration on the East End, which will be done by Shaibal Shoy Mitra, a PhD from Staten Island CCNY. That'll be at the St. John Church. And then on April 16th at 7:00, Howard and Ann Reisman lecture on the fish of the East End by Chris Fish Guy Paparo will be at the North Sea Community Schoolhouse as well. So those are just some of the programs that we have coming up in the next few months.
Well, thank you for being on the podcast, and good luck to getting this thing done. And I'll be talking and seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Bye.